is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and affordable phones continue on here. We've been reviewing several, including the latest Blue phone and Huawei's affordable Honor. Now we have the Moto G5 Plus. In the United States, we only get the G5 Plus. We don't get the G5, which is even less expensive. But starting at $229, that's pretty darn affordable. And you get a full HD display. You can see a colorful and pretty sharp looking display. You get an aluminum back cover, internal still a plastic frame, and you get your choice of this sparkly gold or a more muted looking gray. Now the gray one looks kind of dull. This one maybe, I don't know, it's up to you. I think it looks slightly tacky, but 12 megapixel camera on the back, and it records 4K video, a little bit unusual for an affordable phone. Also has dual band Wi-Fi instead of 2.4 gigahertz, which a lot of the cheaper phones have. Also has a pretty big battery. We're going to look at it now. So the Moto G5 is $229, and you'll get 3 gigs of RAM and 32 gigabyte of storage. There's a microSD card slot as well here. And if you want to spend $299, you get 3 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of storage. So that's pretty well appointed. Otherwise, it's your everyday normal phone. For a budget phone, it's nice that it has a fingerprint scanner that works exceptionally well. And there's a feature here. This is vanilla Android 7.0, and the only add-on really is the Moto app right here that supports gestures, and you can control your on-screen notifications, and one of them allows you to turn this into your set of on-screen buttons. If you want, you don't have to do that. So you can swipe to go back, you can swipe that way to do the multitasking, you can hit it to go home, and if you press and hold, you can bring up Google Assistant. Now, it didn't ship with Google Assistant. It got an over-the-air update, and that enabled it, and I'm going to turn it off before it starts listening to me and responding to commands. So there it is. Otherwise, you've got stock Android, which is just fine with me. It's clean. Now this has the January security update, so it's not exactly up to date there. We'll see how good a job Moto, owned by Lenovo, does with that. Up top here we have our carrier, and this holds the nano SIM card slot and the micro SD card. It's an interesting carrier. One card goes on each side of it, and it actually tells you on the carrier which side faces up, which is nice because after you pop them out often it's like, well, which way did that go back in? Down here at the bottom we have the headphone jack, and look at that retro. We have a micro USB 2.0 connector, not USB-C. Oh well. On the back, the usual signature Moto surround around the camera lens there, and that's a 12 megapixel camera that has an f1.7 lens, and you got your two-tone LED flash. So those are some pretty nice specs, certainly for the price. There's obviously a little accent line here. It's supposed to give it a little bit of an interest, and it fits Moto's design language. It's not the most exciting looking phone, but you know, like I said, they're not going to give you the prettiest thing that they can possibly make at the cheapest price either. This display is nice and colorful. We have the Google Wallpapers app on board, so a nice selection of wallpapers are available to show off the screen. It's pleasant. It's 5.2 inches and 1920 by 1080, so it's a full HD display. Now this is a 5.2 inch phone that's got the footprint of more like a 5.5 inch phone almost. You've got the OnePlus 13T here, and we put it on top. You can see there the OnePlus is just ever so slightly bigger. Now budget phones do tend to be larger. It costs money to actually miniaturize things, so that's why. And this is the LG G6, to give you an idea. They're about the same size, even though the LG has a larger and taller screen, different kind of aspect ratio there. And here it is beside the blue R1 Plus that we just reviewed, which is an even cheaper phone. That's $160. Not quite as nice a screen as the Moto's, lower resolution. It's not quite as bright and sharp. Now the Moto screen is IPS, and off angle it does get a little darker, but not too bad. And it's bright enough to see outdoors, but if it's really sunny and you're taking pictures, you might have a little challenge there. Now the phone is not water resistant. It's not IP68. You can submerge it in 3 meters of water or something like that for half an hour, because at this price point you're just not going to get that. It does have Moto's usual nano coating that's supposed to be water resistant, so water kind of beads and rolls off of it if you happen to splash it. So no swimming with this, no tossing it in the beer mug for like we usually do for a test. Nope, don't do that. One thing that's pretty nice about this phone, not many unlocked phones in the cheap price range support both GSM and CDMA. That means this works on Sprint, on Verizon, on AT&T, on T-Mobile, on Metro PCS, on all the smaller carriers as well. Supports many LTE bands. If you want to know all the bands, go to Moto's website. It's just too many for me to read out to you. So it's a very versatile phone. You can take it to any carrier that you want. You can switch carriers. You can use multiple carriers. It's all good. The 4G LTE is Cat 6, and the speeds that we saw won't reach the fastest carrier-branded phones because they're often, the network is optimized so it recognizes them. But it got pretty good data speeds here. You can see on T-Mobile the speeds that we got, and that's pretty much par for the course in our area. The Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus did manage about 5 megabit per second faster, though. Also like the fact that this has dual band Wi-Fi. You're not limited to 2.4 gigahertz. Often budget phones leave that out. You get Bluetooth 4.2. You do not get NFC though, which you almost never do in phones that are priced this low. There's a 3,000 milliamp battery that's sealed inside. Given the Snapdragon 625 is not a big consumer, a 5.2-inch full HD display, not that big a consumer. It's got a solid 5.5 hours of actual screen on time. That's actual use time, not including all the time that it's spent sleeping. So that's pretty decent. And it supports fast charging, as turbo charging, as Motorola calls it, and you get a turbocharger in the box as well. In terms of performance, honestly, it doesn't feel like a slow or budget phone. It's responsive, it's fast. Having well-optimized vanilla Android is going to help there. You can see the benchmarks there. It's about where you would expect the Snapdragon 25. That's been on the block for a while. It's an octa-core CPU to score. So it's absolutely fine. If you're a real power user and you love to multitask, then that's going to be a different kind of story there. So up front we have a 5 megapixel camera, and it has beauty shot mode, so it'll give you basically an injection of Botox and make your skin look nice and tight and shiny. And on the back we have a 12 megapixel camera, f1.7 lens, dual focus pixels. It's supposed to speed up autofocusing times. It does a fine job. In low light you can see it hunt a little bit, but in this price range that's pretty forgivable. We got auto HDR here, you've got various modes, you've got slow motion, you've got panorama, of course all your different settings are available here. There are advanced settings, and you can quick swipe over to look at pictures that you've taken. This is a picture taken in the dark, and it used the flash, and it's not so great there. We have a lot of white out on the fur. We have a little bit of, forgive the pun, fuzziness, but it's, again, par for the course. Did much better outdoors. It can record 4K video, which is pretty impressive at this price range, which is what this is. This was a cloudy day. We'll shoot it on screen so you can see it, along with a couple of other sample photos taken outdoors, cloudy day. So that's the Moto G5 Plus. Available now. You can get it at Best Buy, Amazon, other retailers. In fact, with Amazon, they have that discount if you're willing to put up with their sleep screen ads, and you can get it for like $50 off too. Affordable phones really are coming of age. I mean, even a low to mid-range CPU like the Snapdragon 625 is fast enough that it seems very usable, I think, for most people out there. The display resolution, full HD, good enough. The phone is, you know, it's not super styling, you know. It is metal, that helps, but clearly manufacturers are not going to really want to give you the most stylish phone they can make for the least amount of money. Why would you buy the more expensive phone? So there's one thing, the design right there. Another plus is it works on all 4 major US carriers and smaller ones too. So it does CDMA, it does GSM. Most unlocked phones are only GSM. It's pretty versatile. Switch carriers until the cows come home. It doesn't matter. Your little $229 phone will go with you. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more cool tech videos, and thumbs up if you like this video.